and you can go.
I'm James Whitaker. I've been serving as a Secretary Treasurer for the past year. Tonight, I'm going to provide our required financial report to the membership for the 2020 fiscal year, which is being 9 months ago. Seems like a long time, but here we are. You can see for 2019 and 2020, our total assets and liabilities here. We're on a calendar year accrual basis, and we ended 2020 with assets of $539,000 and liabilities of $57,000. Nearly all of our assets are cash or investment based. Liabilities represent mostly deferred revenue, which is when we receive income for following year activities and cannot post it in the current year. Typically, we run a balanced budget every year, and you can see in 2019, we were pretty much flat. Our gain in 2020 is due to membership dues being received almost entirely in the first quarter. Then the pandemic hit, and we were forced to make most of the remaining year's in-person events virtual, which eliminated a huge chunk of our expenses. Additionally, our reserve fund sitting investments posted a very healthy $33,000 gain in 2020. This slide shows our expenses by category. Our biggest expense is for underwriting events and projects, which typically represents nearly half of our overall expenses, as you can see in 2019. But again, in 2020, our events cost went way down because our fixed expenses were flat from an increase in personnel expenses. Obviously, our full-time executive director and our half-time membership coordinator is a large part of what it takes to arrange activities and projects, plus run physician vitality program, communicate, and all the other things that they do. Administration represents our overhead, such as rent, IT, insurance, printing, and the like that is unrelated to activities. This slide shows our current fiscal year budget, year to date, income and expenses with projections. As you can see, we will end this year essentially flat. Our current balance sheet compared to the end of last year is right here. I should know that this year our board voted to be much more aggressive with our investments and increase the equity portion of the portfolio. Since there is no target date for needing these funds, and this is where we keep most of our reserve funds. Onto our foundation, which we started in 2010. In 2020, we had planned a fundraiser for the Medical Student and Resident Emergency Fund, received all the sponsorships in Q1, and then we had to cancel the April event due to COVID. So you can see we took a huge jump on our assets, but the emergency fund remains at that level. Finally, our foundation profit and loss statement. In 2020, we had a gain of $7,100. You can see that we have a designated fund balance for physician vitality and medical student and resident emergency fund. Early in 2021, we cleared out the physician vitality fund balance and directed it back to ACMS proper to support the physician vitality program. You can see a list here of the 2020 ACMS Foundation activities. We raised $11,000 for medical student and resident emergency fund, and we granted 3 requests totaling $4,500. And you can see some of the other activities that we supported here in 2020. Now our foundation has a granting application process. Our funding priorities are activities which, one, promote physician well-being, work-life balance, and leadership, provide direct health services and/or health education to Idahoans, and advance Idaho health professions education. So we only had 2 foundation grant applications over the past 2 years for these funds. So we encourage all of our members to consider organizations or projects that they've been involved with and consider submitting an application through our website. We have also had no applications to our emergency fund. So if you know of a medical student or resident who's facing an unplanned situation, please check out our website for guidelines on fund applications. If you'd like to make a general or designated donation to the foundation, you can always do so. In fact, those who registered for tonight's webinar were given the opportunity to make a donation to one of 3 Alzheimer's support agencies, which will pass through our foundation. And if you didn't make a donation, please consider doing so. That is the end of this year's financial report. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll field them at the end of the meeting, or you can call me or our executive director, and he'll be happy to answer any questions in detail. Thank you and have a good night.